Welcome to Off Duty, I'm Wendy Bounds. This week we are pushing the boundaries of travel. With winter just around the corner, we're chasing summer across the globe and we'll be taking you with us, showing you where the new hotspots are and the best deals. Plus, speaking of heat, remember the movie St. Elmo's Fire? Well, we've got an interview with one of the stars, Andrew McCarthy, about his extraordinary travel adventures, which he chronicles in a new book, The Longest Way Home. And stick around, I'm going to show you video of two lions mating from my recent trip to Africa. Talk about hot. Oh yeah! Anyway, first, 7 unexpected warm destinations that the experts say you cannot beat. Fall is here, and you know what that means. Winter is just around the corner. And if the thought of winter coats, boots, snow, and ice is just too much to bear, well, we've got a solution for you. It is called summer chasing, otherwise known as the endless summer. And we have 7 phenomenal destinations you may not have thought of to choose from to chase the warmth. To help us walk through them, we have Kate Maxwell, editor-in-chief of Jetsetter, and Courtney Scott, senior editor at Travelocity. People often think of chasing summer in the context of the Caribbean and Hawaii. It's hard to get your fill of the Caribbean or Hawaii, but if people are looking for a little more adventure, you guys have come up with a great list. Let's start with Thailand. Now, this is someplace people might think, wow, I could never go there. You love this.
We love it, and our members at Jetsetter love it too. Thailand recently surpassed Italy as our #1 requested destination from our personal travel planning service. I really recommend having a couple of nights in Bangkok. You're going to have to fly there anyway. It's a really exciting, buzzy city, wonderful temples, great seafood. The place I recommend staying there is the Banyan tree. It's a 61-story hotel with fantastic views and a really great bar. And then you've got...
Good bar is key.
Good bar, very important. You can't go to Thailand without spending some time on an island. Koh Samui is one of my favourites. The 6 Senses there. It's a stunningly beautiful hotel with everything from an infinity pool to a fantastic spa, really good restaurants. So
sounds great.
Check that one out.
You have picked Cartagena, Colombia as a destination. Now, we were talking in the office, some people have been there. They love it. What do you like about it?
Well, first of all, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's got that Latin, sexy flair that we love, combined with this beautiful historical walled city. So I recommend staying at the Bantu Boutique Hotel. It's a $1,686 vacation package, 7-night flight and hotel on Travelocity.com. It's got that open, airy, colonial style, totally chic and really sexy at the same time.
And not too hard to get to.
Oh no, direct flights to Bogota and then a quick hop over to Cartagena.
And JetBlue, I think, is just starting direct flights in November, so I think everyone from our office is just going to be gone.
I know,
so
JetBlue, then you know everybody's going when JetBlue starts. Right. A little harder to get to. I actually just got back from there myself last week. Africa, South Africa on safari. You picked this one. Why do you like that? I can tell you why I like it. I loved it. But
I think South Africa is the perfect African country to go to if you haven't been to Africa before, because you can combine all sorts of different things. You should spend a few days in Cape Town, one of the most beautiful cities in the world with wonderful beaches and Table Mountain, and then go up to the winelands where the Steenberg Hotel is my pick. They make their own wine there, so you can have that, some of that and go on a wine tour as well. And then, of course, you can't go to South Africa without going on safari, and we really like the Vuyani Lodge. It works out at about $450 a night, which sounds a lot of money, but actually that includes game drives and includes 3 meals a day. So compared to a lot of other safari options, it's actually not too bad.
People have to be mindful of the tipping when you go to South Africa, because tipping is a big part of the culture. I found that 4 days on safari was enough to see basically all of the animals I could have dreamed on. My first night I saw lions mating. I think we're going to show that video later. Is that allowed? I don't know. But do you feel that way? 4 nights on safari is pretty good?
Yeah, absolutely. And October is actually a really good time to see animals. It's the springtime, and it's lots of game there.
Okay, Spain now. You picked Spain. Where in Spain?
Well, a lot of Europe is actually cooling off temperature-wise, but Palma de Mallorca, one of the Balearic Islands in Spain, is nice and warm through November, and the AC Ciutat Hotel, right in the city center, it's a $1,331 vacation package, 7-night flight and hotel. One of the best ways to see the island is by boat. Rent a charter for the day. It's about $350, and you'll see all of the beautiful hidden beaches and coves of the island.
And have you both seen people still going to Spain despite all of everything we hear in the news about the economic problems there?
Yes, and the same with Greece, actually. Yeah, particularly, yeah.
Now, another place where you can see a lot of animals, the Galapagos. What do you like about that?
I mean, the ultimate sort of wildlife vacation. And our members really like cruises at Jetsetter, but we're not talking about the sort of city at sea cruise. We're talking about really small cruises of sort of 20 people. And EcoVentura goes to the Galapagos. And this is a sort of 7-day package that you'll see everything from enormous tortoises to incredible birds. Really, really fascinating vacation.
And Bora Bora, you picked Bora Bora. Tell us about that.
Well, I think people think of it as this dream, unattainable vacation, but in November and December, it's actually quite reasonable. It's the cheapest time to fly and to stay. And I recommend staying at the Sofitel Bora Bora Marara Beach. It's a mouthful. It's a private island. You can only get there by boat. Really relax in your hammock all day, sip a cocktail, and the Polynesian culture and hospitality is some of the friendliest in the world.
And then before we get to our final place, all these places we're mentioning, they're entering a warm season at least, so you're going to be warm. You will be chasing summer into there.
Absolutely.
You both agreed on one place very near and dear to my heart. I went there on my honeymoon, Australia. Now let's hear where you would send folks.
Right, so again, Australia, if you're going to fly for 24 hours, you might as well spend a little while there. We have a jet-setter journey called Enchanted Australia that is 11 days, so I would definitely recommend trying that. It includes places like Sydney, of course. You've got to spend a few days in Sydney. You know, check out the Opera House, check out the bridge.
Climb the bridge.
Climb the bridge if you're bold enough, yep. And then the Barrier Reef includes a stay on Hamilton Island, which is, you know, your absolutely kind of quintessential beautiful white beach, Barrier Island. Got to do some snorkeling or some scuba diving there. And then going into the Greater Blue Mountains, which,
beautiful.
You know, stunning scenery. I don't know if you went there,
I did.
but we have a fantastic resort there as well.
So you hit the high, you went, were you on my honeymoon? I think you were. Now, where do you have folks going?
Well, I love Cairns. It's in Queensland. Also, it's the gateway to the Great Barrier Reef. And it's just a quintessential city with everything to do Australian style. So you've got bungee jumping right there, 164-foot drop. I've done it. I don't know if I would do it again, but definitely once in a lifetime thing to do. You've got a solar eclipse actually happening in Cairns on November 14th. So as dawn breaks, the city's going to go dark. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime kind of experience. So if you're there at that time, check that out. And the Shangri-La property right on the marina, it's a $2,570 vacation package, flight and hotel 7 nights. That is a steal to get all the way on the other side of the world.
And if you can stay even longer, you could probably get over to Melbourne, which people say is amazing and like very cosmopolitan city.
Absolutely,
you gotta have the time to do
fantastic food. I love Melbourne.
All right, before I let you go, quick, your favorite pick. What's your favorite pick?
Bora Bora, dream destination.
I think South Africa.
All right. Well, then I went to the right place according to you.
You did.
All right, Kate, Courtney, thanks guys so much. Thanks. Now we're going to try something a little unorthodox. I'm going to drag my director of photography out from behind the camera. Come here, Jeff. Nice handoff to Drew. Thank you.
Oh boy, here we go.
Friend. How are you doing?
Good.
Now,
How you going, Wendy?
I'm good. Speaking of travel, you were in South Korea recently. Took a lot of images. We're going to show some of that in a minute, but I want to know what your favorite part was.
Hands down, the food.
The food?
The food is amazing.
What's the strangest thing you ate?
This is crazy, but it was raw octopus that's still moving on your plate.
While you're eating it?
Yeah, so you know, you have your chopsticks, you're trying to get it still moving, and take it down like a champ.
Hard to take pictures of something that's still moving, right?
Yeah.
We're looking at some pictures of that I took on my trip to South Africa, and we're going to show some of that in a minute, but I used my iPhone. You were kind of ashamed of me, weren't you?
I was a little jealous.
You were a little
jealous.
A little bit jealous. You're going to be jealous of this. I took video of 2 lions mating.
Not jealous.
Not jealous. You ready?
I'm ready, let's do it.
All right, let's roll it. What'd you think of that, Cullen?
Oof, it was rough.
You can take a cold shower later. But you know, for some people, it might be really pushing their limits to go and be near these enormous animals like rhinos and elephants and lions that could kill you if you stepped out of the Jeep. Pushing your limits is a big thing when it comes to travel. And Andrew McCarthy, the actor, do you remember him? St. Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink? You're too young, you're just making that up. You know who he is. He just wrote this book about travel and how it helped him come to terms with commitment and relationships. We talked to him about it. You should pay attention on this one.
I'll take a note.
Take a listen.
I hate to say this, but Bernie, it appears as if somebody's trying to defraud the company.
Gentlemen, this is good work. Very, very good work. How would you two like to come to my house at the beach?
The man absolutely loves us.
Actor, director, and travel writer Andrew McCarthy, he loves being alone, and especially loves being alone when he travels, but it is traveling alone to some of the world's most remote spots that made him learn to realize what exactly it means to truly need others. And he writes about that and his journey in his new book, The Longest Way Home. He's with us on Off Duty. Hey, Andrew.
Hi.
Some of these places you've been, Patagonia, the Amazon, Vienna, Dublin, you must have a pretty colorful passport at this point.
I do. I just had to get a new one, actually. But yeah, I've been to a lot of good spots. There's still a lot I want to go to, though.
I want to get to the root of what drives you to travel. And you wrote in your book that the character you played in St. Elmo's Fire, that character fits you better than almost any you had ever played because the character was ambivalent and had uncertainty regarding his place in the world. And I'm wondering, has ambivalence driven your desire to travel?
I don't know if it drove my desire to travel, but it certainly plagued me. You know, I am one of those people that I have a strong feeling, and then in the next moment I go, but on the other hand, so I'm constantly sort of back and forth with so many things, and a lot of times it served me well, but other times it sort of plagued me and almost sunk me. The book's about, it plays out in these exotic places, but it's really much more of a memoir, internal kind of thing. How am I'm asking myself the question, how am I going to get married to this person that I love, and yet on the other hand, I just got to get out of here.
And that is essentially the narrative arc. I mean, you're poised, about to enter into your second marriage, and you essentially set off on a journey of seeing the world while your wife is back, Dolores is planning the wedding. How did
well, yes and no. I mean, yes, I am doing, but I mean, I wasn't just a complete selfish idiot. I mean, I was writing articles for magazines. Right. It was sort of my job.
You had excuses.
I had excuses
why you were traveling. Let's be clear, excuses.
And that's exactly correct. But you know, I found solutions in my life by traveling. That's, you know, some people go to therapy, others like to sit around, have tea, and chat and talk it out. I find solutions like when the boot hits the ground, you know, and that's how I hear myself and feel myself and know what it is that I want.
And why being alone when you travel? What do you get being alone that you don't get when you're with someone else?
Well, if you and I go traveling, we're having our experience of each other in that place, and It may be very romantic or whatever it is, but it's our experience. If you're alone, you're generally untethered and you're much more vulnerable, and you're dependent on the kindness of strangers, as it were, and I find it opens me up in a way that I'm not at all when I'm at home. You know, at home I'll walk by somebody on the street and get out of my way, whereas if I'm in some far off place, I'll stop and look, and you know, if they come up to me and start chatting, I'm happy to chat with them. You know, so I'm a better version of myself when I'm far away.
You don't figure out sort of your plans often until you land in a place. You sort of land there and then you figure it out as you go. You take a harder route, and I'm wondering if you think when traveling in general, if taking that harder route is really the best route to learning to understand the place that you are, that if you've got it all mapped out with the hotel, you're never going to get the essence of the place.
Well, it depends what kind of travel you want to do. I mean, vacations are one thing, and I love a good vacation, but I mean, the kind of travel that I like to do, I don't use travel as an escape. I've never understood really people that think travel is an escape from their life. Because wherever I go, there I am, I'm stuck with me. An hour on a beach and I'm like, what am I gonna do now? If I'm insulated in a beautiful hotel, I have a wonderful experience of being in a beautiful hotel. But that's not an experience of traveling and being away and being sort of wide open to the world.
A lot of people have this debate. I have this debate when I travel. How much to be in touch with the texting, with the email? Can you ever actually understand a place and figure it out if you're still so connected back to your other life? How did you handle that, particularly when you were sort of, you know, in the middle of your engagement?
I mean, I think you're totally right. You can't really. I mean, it was a lot easier, certainly even 5 years ago, when it was much more difficult to be out of touch. Now, the minute we're slightly uncomfortable, we just reach out. I mean, how quickly are we always reaching for our cell phones to check and sort of try and be connected? But I think the essence of that connection disconnects us even further. So it's sort of the very thing we're trying to connect with is depleting us in a certain way. So, but it's a wonderful device to avoid uncomfortableness. And when you're traveling well, you have to get very uncomfortable. My experience is when I get very uncomfortable and very miserable and very lonely and go, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. Then it happens.
That's the
right after that it happens. But when we spend all our time trying to avoid that feeling, it's not a good thing.
Now, people look at the places that you've gone. I mean, some pretty exotic places, and obviously it takes some money to get there. And they say, all right, well, you're an actor, you were in St. Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink, the Joy Luck Club, Weekend at Bernie's.
He's loaded.
The list goes on. He has so much money. But you actually don't travel, you know, always on the most sort of expensive dime. I mean, you don't feel you have to travel, have a lot of money to sort of have an amazing trip, and you often live that out yourself.
No, I don't. I think people don't travel because they're afraid, period. I don't think it's financial. I don't think it's time. I think people don't travel because they're afraid. And there's lots of reasons to avoid you know, and there's justification for anything. I've proven to my friends that I can travel cheaper than I can live at home, and you know, and I think it's fear, you know, and I think this is my whole soapbox, but I mean, I think America is an amazing, incredible place, but it's also an incredibly fearful place, and we make really fearful decisions, and travel obliterates fear. You know, it just does. That great Mark Twain line, travel's fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. You know, and so if people traveled, they would be less fearful, and if we were less fearful, we would be a better country because we wouldn't be making fearful decisions. Every bad decision I've made is based in fear. Not every fearful decision I've made is bad.
Throughout your career and anything?
And in my life. Not every fearful decision I made is bad, but every bad decision was made based in fear.
Interesting.
You know, and I think most people are ruled by fear much more than they admit. It certainly was the case with me.
You write candidly about that fear. You also write pretty candidly about you know, the problems you had with alcohol earlier in your life, and you know, waking up one morning you're in Berlin, but you wake up in Amsterdam the next day.
Yeah.
And you then had, you know, you then sort of used travel as part of the healing process. I mean, how did travel help you overcome the substance abuse?
Well, I don't think it helped me overcome substance abuse at all. It helped. No, it certainly didn't do that at all. But it helped me just get in touch with who I am. It just helped me find who I was. It helped me grow up. You know, because I was also in a lot of movies and things at the time, and so I was living in this very sort of odd world that was not that connected with reality. And when I would just go out on my own and sort of confront the world on its own terms, I just grew up through travel.
One place that you've been, it doesn't necessarily have to be one of the places you write about in this book, but that you, if you were going to tell everybody out there, you must see this place, what would you say that is?
God, I don't know. People ask me that. I was recently in Sudan, and I found Sudan to be, and everyone said, what are you, out of your mind? Why are you going to Sudan? And I found Sudan to be a really amazing place to visit. There's very little tourist infrastructure, but I found that people really want, any place I think the world is a welcoming place. I'm not a danger junkie, but places like that. I was recently in Mozambique, which I also thought was fantastic. You know, I like places that aren't totally ready for that almighty dollar.
Right.
You know, because they're still themselves.
And if you were ranking the jobs you've had as actor, writer, director, traveler, like from being least favorite to most favorite, how would you do that?
Oh, they're all the best, really. I have the best jobs in the world. Yeah, I mean, they're all just sort of passions of mine that I sort of somehow finagled my way into sort of making livings at, you know. So they're all the same to me, really, too. I don't see a difference between them. They all touch that same sort of notion of connection and communication. It's odd I'm such a solitary person on one hand, but on the other hand, what my sort of thing is, what I'm interested in is connection, you know, and that's where the action's at.
Well, writing a book is a solitary process. You have done it. It's called The Longest Way Home. Andrew McCarthy, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Man, that guy has been everywhere.
I'm jealous.
I don't know if he's been to South Korea, though. When you were there, you were pushing your limits. You went to the border of North Korea?
I did. I went to the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, and brought my camera up there. And, you know, I saw a couple things that you don't see here. It's still a tense spot.
Do you take your camera everywhere you go when you travel? Because some people say they feel like it puts a distance between them and the moment. How do you feel?
Well, for me, being a videographer, being a photographer gives me reason to go travel. Every time I go to a new place, it's more excitement, and everything I see is a photo op, so I'm just ready to rock.
And you're always lugging pretty heavy equipment, but the good thing is for most of us, we can take the iPhone and at least have some video and some still photos, and they turn out pretty well.
Yeah, it makes the competition even that much harder.
For you,
yeah.
That's right. One of my favorite things you shot, and I actually want to end the show with it, is you shot the changing of the guard at one of the palaces. Was that one of your favorite parts as well?
It was amazing. We'll let the picture speak for it.
I'm not sure if it can top my lions mating video, but we'll see. All right, take a look.
Good. Hold.